I've just spent a year or so with the Sony a6600, and here's the good, the bad, and the absolutely terrible about this camera. Since I bought the Sony a6600, I've shot well over hundreds of videos with it, but it's a camera I rarely use outside of my studio because of the IBIS, or the in-body image stabilization, that keeps the footage steady. It's not exactly amazing. While it's not entirely bad, it's still not great. Can you take it out with Warp Stabilizer or some other stabilization software? Well, you be the judge. But the one thing that's absolutely terrible about the Sony a6600 is the rolling shutter. Rolling shutter is one of those technical terms that refers to the way the image sensor scans the image, usually from top to bottom, line by line. But it's easier if I show you what a cluster this is. So I'm just going to reach out here, I'm going to grab the tripod, and I'm just going to move the camera from left to right. As you can see, it's not moving that fast at all. Now look at the monitor, for example. The monitor there, the big open LED sign in the back. Look at that turn into absolute jello. It is, it's like awful. In fact, to me, it's terrible. Can you fix it in post? Absolutely. The best way to fix a clip with insane rolling shutter is delete it. I knew the rolling shutter was terrible before I bought the a6600. In fact, I didn't buy the camera on release because the rolling shutter was so bad. However, a few weeks later, I did buy the a6600 and I absolutely love this camera. I haven't invested too much in lenses, but the kit lens works well, and the Sigma 16mm 1.4, which is the lens I'm shooting this on right now, is simply amazing. And that's the setup that I use 99.9% of the time for these kind of videos, because so many of you guys have been asking, what do you shoot your videos on? And this is the setup. And that's probably one of the huge advantages with a camera like the Sony a6600. You can swap out the lenses. Sony's E-mount system has no shortage of lenses available, and while some of Sony's lenses are insanely priced, the likes of Sigma, Tamron, and lots of other brands have plenty of cheaper, high-quality glass available too. I bought the a6600 primarily as a studio camera for talking head segments for my videos, like here. Sure, I've brought it out from time to time, but for the best part, it's always on a tripod. When I do take it off the tripod though, I'm usually shooting 120p slow motion at 1080p, and that also looks amazing. In fact, every video I've shot with the Sony a6600 looks phenomenal. But no wonder the whole thing looks so good, because it's actually a 6K image that's downsampled to 4K within the camera itself. So you've got crazy levels of detail in there too. I just love the look of video from the a6600, and that Sony color science is just mwah. And the a6600 has that insane eye autofocus, which works incredibly well. This is probably one time it won't work. I really feel Sony have best-in-class autofocus, and every video I shoot in here uses the eye autofocus. Granted, I dialed in the sensitivity just a tad. I was a bit too sensitive when I started to move my hands around the place, but other than that, it's incredibly reliable. Checks camera to see am I still in shot. I am. This thing has really helped me to make better looking videos. Granted, better looking videos is only half the battle. It's all about the story. Sure, there's a ton of settings in here, many more than you might be used to, especially if you're just starting out. And while I've customized the hell out of the settings on my Sony ZV-1, I haven't really done much to the Sony a6600 besides edit some of the custom buttons and the picture profiles to dial in a picture look that I want. And once I've got them locked in, I plug in a mic and hit record. And this thing will record 4K video for hours. The battery life on the Sony a6600 just keeps going and going, even with knockoff batteries. I have an original Z battery from Sony and two knockoffs, and while the knockoffs last slightly shorter, they haven't given me any problems. And I can easily shoot a few YouTube videos with each battery, depending on obviously what I'm doing. I generally have the a6600 set up with an external monitor. In this case, it's the Cine A6 Plus, which plugs in via micro HDMI. And while it hides the flip-up screen to a degree, it's a nice option to have. Granted, micro HDMI, yeah, I go through them like underpants. They break a lot. That sounds wrong. Granted, I'd love if the a6600 had a tally light, because from time to time I do completely forget to press record, and there is nothing more soul destroying than giving all your energy into a video and then you go play back and it's like, where's the video? I didn't press record. It's just, I actually had to check to see that I pressed record there. So it's just one of those things. If you've got a teleprompter, if you've got something else on, it's just one of those things. but you know, it's not the end of the world. The a6600 is also my photo camera when I want some extra range with some different lenses, and I use the a6600 for taking thumbnails exclusively for my YouTube videos, where I literally just pull down a screen here, turn the camera around, and start shooting a ton of raw photos until I get something that you might just click on to watch. Just like this video here. No, here.